What's going on, guys? Just got back from World Cup finals with my lovely wife here. I don't think I can express this enough. What an amazing event, an amazing time. Just want to speak on this real quick before we get to the main video here. Just want to thank two very good friends of mine for all the help and everything they did for me too. All the support they gave me this weekend and just being good people in general. Mike Bolka and Tony. I always mess up Tony's name, Inglinato. I always mess up his last name, but Stan Steger Media and Mike Bolka, I'll link them down here. Thank you guys very much for all your help and support this weekend. They repped my gear the entire time, which they didn't have to do, and they did, so thank you guys. There's a couple other people I'd like to mention also. Jesse Clabb from Big Clabb with the media team out there. Thank you, buddy. It was good seeing you again, even though I'm gonna roast that fucking truck of yours. It's not even gonna stand a chance. But in seriousness, I'm hoping to meet up with Jesse, get some videos together. I want him to drive the car. He's a big V8 guy. He's a big LS Chevy guy, period. He had that Corvette for a while, and now he's got that awesome truck he's building, which it's cool seeing him build it himself and kind of work through all the issues. Pretty neat build. I know he just had the issue with the last motor, and he's got a new one going in, aluminum block. We were talking about it last night, but I digress there. Ryan Sametz, nice meeting you, buddy. Kyle of Boosted Lifestyle. Dude, it was awesome meeting you, and you guys got to meet Boosted Boys, all sorts of people. Nero from Titan Motorsports, got to see John Stats again. Joel Grandis, who was helping with this build. Just so many good people in such a small area, and everyone was just so kind and open. It was cool meeting all the 1320 video guys and getting up with TRC, making that connection finally and getting like actual face-to-face time with them. I'm hoping to work with those guys more as they're just fucking awesome to work with. But thank you guys very much. I appreciate your support with the channel too through all this. Hope you're enjoying the content. Now let's get back to what this video is supposed to be about. All right, so we're about to put the Supra up in the air here, all 50 shades of gray of it. The car is dirty as hell, as I just got back from 2.5 hours of driving it in the rain without windshield wipers, back from World Cup finals. Car drove like a champ, no issues. You could really seriously daily drive this car. If you were okay with the noises, and I could probably go to a quieter exhaust, actually, yes, I could go to a quiet exhaust, and the car wouldn't be bad to drive at all. Maybe add some Dynamat inside the car, but nothing crazy. But it's time to put it up, because it's time for the T56 Magnum, baby. Big shout out again to Joel Grandis for the help with this. I have a gentleman that is local that's going to be picking up the R154, so I need to drop that out. So I'm gonna go through this with you guys step by step on how you need to remove the transmission. So I'm gonna start off with, exactly what you need to do and how to drop it out. Alright guys, now the car is up in the air. The first thing we're going to do is remove the drive shaft and the rear donut on this, because this does have an R154 in it. There's a solid one-piece drive shaft in it, and using a custom drift motion donut to attach everything together, which once I get in the car, I will show you, and then we'll show you how to take this off. You can take it off pretty much one of two ways, realistically. If you're just going to remove the drive shaft, you can just take that off, or you can remove it as two pieces, whatever. But I'm gonna get under here and show you guys how I go about it. All right guys, so I actually lied here. We have the exhaust, you can see here. We need to take this off first. Obviously to drop the Driveline here, which is right above. To get this off, we have to drop the exhaust. Plus, with taking the transmission out, you want this all off just to make it easy. I'm actually gonna leave the muffler section on just because it is such a pain in the butt to get off. I'm gonna just take it off from that full bolt section there for the HKS titanium, this 2-bolt right here, and then there's a V-band flange there. I know, kind of funny, uses 3 different flanges, just how I had set up. So guys, I'm gonna go ahead and remove these. Again, it's very simple, you just unbolt and go. Okay guys, so I've got the exhaust off here. This is the mid pipe, and this is the first section of the exhaust. So that would be where the cat starts. Then you would go to the first half of the exhaust, and this would go back then to the actual rear section of the exhaust. So I just need to take this off to get the rest of the Driveline off. I'm just gonna let that hang there like that. I put a couple towels in there just so it doesn't damage the bumper. Move this off out of the way. Next again, now we'll actually remove the drive shaft, take those bolts off, and show you how to do that. Got the drive shaft out now, guys. It is just 4 hex style bolts that are in here. I should say not hex, they're Allen key style bolts that attach there just like this. They slip in just like so and go in like that, and they lock in to an adapter plate, which is this. So guys, this is the drift motion adapter plate that you need if you're going to adapt it to another rear end, and it has 2 different types. depending on the drive shaft and the type of rear end you're using, because there's a big type and there's a small type adapter flange. This has it actually drilled out for both, which is really nice. All I have to do here next is remove it, and that's it. Again, it is a Allen key style head. I'm gonna have to get, I think it's a 17mm for the back and then an Allen key head for the front. Small thing I'm gonna throw in here, guys. I have my catch can for sale. This is a custom catch can made by M&S, or now Empire Performance, up in New York. I have a new one made every year. Jabo made them. This is my third one. He's got my fourth one over there. About to take it out. It's $350 or best offer. It's the same price every year. I never change that. It's the same thing I got to pay for it. So guys, let me know. I've got that one for sale, but here is my new one. I went slightly different design. Again, it probably looks similar, but he went with a recessed filter. I should say I drew this up and he used a recessed filter this time around. I wanted the edge of it cut because it's gonna sit back closer along that edge, and it's also not gonna mount on top there. It's actually gonna mount from one of these holes up top and actually mount to the side of the body in here. I didn't want it mounted to the actual body up top. I don't know why. I think visually it'll look cleaner if it's just one straight edge. Again, this is just personal preference, but just wanted to show you guys this real quick. I need to get this sent out, have it powder coated. I've never had them powder coated. I've always left them raw, but it's time to finally do it since the rest of the engine bay is black. All right, guys, now that the billet donut's out, what we want to do next here is actually drain the transmission. The transmission's got a plug right here on the back that you need to drain the fluid out of. Now, if you can drop it without doing this, but the shaft itself, the end tail shaft, is open and fluid always comes out. I personally don't like to, and especially because I'm selling this one, I'm gonna go ahead and drain all the fluid out. So I'm gonna go ahead and break that plug loose and drain all the fluid out of this bad boy. All right, guys, so all the fluid is drained out here. Now, I use the same pan for oil, gear fluid. It doesn't matter what it is. I use the same pan, so it's kind of hard to tell, but the fluid is still pretty pink-ish, but it also got mixed in with all the oil, so kind of darkened it up some. But yeah, pretty much the trans didn't get much wear. I mean, I was hard on it, but it wasn't that hard on it apparently, because I ran my hand through it. There's no metallic in it. I ran a light through it. There's no metallic that I could see. I'm gonna grab my light here just to show it, but yeah, everything looks good. So next up is starting to take some of the belts off the bell housing. What I like to do is start with the two that are right up top, back behind here. Now, when I get on top of the motor, I'll show you guys a little bit closer there, but there's two right up top. They're really tight and hard to get to. So I always say to get those out first, because when you're dropping the trans, you want to get the hardest ones out first, and the ones that are easy and accessible, you leave those for last. So when you're dropping the trans, you have easy access to them. You're not trying to fight these top two bolts. One other thing we have to do, guys, is we have to make sure we get rid of the brake fluid that you actually use for your clutch master here. We're gonna have to actually take the fluid out of here, so the easiest way to do that is remove this fitting right here and just let the fluid drain down, putting a pan here. This is the way I do it. There might be other ways, better ways, but this is how I do it. So I usually just use an adjustable wrench because these fittings are custom. So if we get a wrench on here. All right, broke it loose. That's brake fluid, so it's always messy, no matter what you do. I already got the pan below it. It's already dripping. There we go. There we go. I know it's gonna make a hellacious mess no matter what I do. Okay guys, so I got the clutch line undone there. So now I went inside and I went ahead and took out the plastic panels in here. It just pops out. Then what you need to do is there's a rubber boot that goes around this shifter. There's 4 10mm bolts you need to remove. Then to take that shifter out itself, there's another 4 10mm bolts that go the whole way around. It's just like a square piece. And then you need to go underneath this, and there's a rod that attaches to this shifter. There's a 12mm bolt that you need to undo, and then this literally just pops straight up and out. And then you just have to take the bolts off the transmission and the trans plate, and it should just fall right out. Now you guys can see that was just a 12mm on the bottom there that you had to undo for the one side. Now the shifter's out. That is a W58 shifter. I used an R154 because it's slightly shorter. You can see here's the tripod top. Again, there's the 4 bolt holes. You can see they're just 10mm, nothing crazy. Now this allows you to move the trans back and forth and drop it out. All right guys, so what I'm doing here next is this. If you guys can see right here, we have my starter. So there is a 12mm bolt underneath you need to disconnect, and then there's one plug that's also underneath to disconnect. The best way to get to it is from underneath the car, and it's one small little clip. It took me like no force to get it off. And the 12mm, as long as the last person who had the car, or if you put it on yourself and didn't over crank it, it should come off very easily. I forget what the foot pounds or it's like inch pounds for, because it doesn't need to be crazily tight. I see this all the time. People crank stuff down and they can't get it off because it gets seized on. But just anything that's what's one thing you need to do next then. And then I'm going to try and get the starter off here. And then there's a couple more bolts on the bell housing I need to remove. And then this should start slipping off pretty easily. All right, guys, so here's the starter. I got it out. I always put the bolts and nuts always back together with it. But starter is out. The next thing I'm going to do, or I already did, I should say. So slave is off now, guys. It's just these two bolts here. And now BB's here. He's gonna help me finish taking out the last couple bolts here, and he brought all his Milwaukee tools, which I was just talking about. One of these fuel, like M12s. This thing's gotta be stupid handy.
It is. It's good for like your valve cover bolts, like easy
to get to.
Gas stuff. I mean, I use it every day. Look at it. Like it's.
Yeah, I like it too because it doesn't have these big, like the Snap I want to see have like those big batteries on it. This one doesn't. All right, guys, so BB helped me get out the trans here. He's looking at the clutch. What'd you say about it? What was your diagnosis here?
Well, where was it?
Was it on the other side? It said it looked good, but there was some marring like right here. And I guess there's a little bit there too.
There's some material missing.
But the thickness of the pad is still there, which is weird.
Some burn marks, but
nothing crazy.
But
I'm fucking stoked, man. Thank you again for your help.
New car.
Yeah, that fucking new car. Like, look at this guy, Mr. GTR. Guys, if you do me a favor too, go down below. I'm gonna list his Instagram for he just bought a GTR. Not just any GTR, a full bolt-on E85 beast. He was just telling us there, he's like, oh yeah, guys, it'll break up above 5,000 RPMs. And I'm like, 5,000 RPMs? What do you mean? He's like, oh yeah, it breaks up. Well, how much has it been doing that? It's been doing that since day one, apparently. And we are coming home from Frederick, beating on our cars, and me and Tony are ripping. This everything we have, and he's like, just keeping up with us. I'm like, well, this sucks. Like, and now he tells me that, I'm like, I thought he was hammering it, and that's the final. Like, oh no, I have to shift to like 550, 500. Here I am, like maxing like 8 grand, just fucking banging gears, and this guy just as automatic, you know, his Maxima, just cruising along.
Spark plugs.
Spark plugs. That's
now we can go full bore.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And you said you're talking to John Kerr about looking over the tune and everything, make sure everything's golden.
Yep, gonna have him review some data logging and probably get it just retuned for personal sake.
That's awesome. But that's good. We got everything else out. The transmission over here, typical. I might have cleaned it up some, but everything looks pretty damn good. I'm pretty happy with it. Yep, that's good. Sweet. So I'm just gonna clean it up here, and then I'm done. The new gentleman will pick it up tomorrow night, and yeah, that's it. Again, BB, thank you very much, buddy. I appreciate all the help. All right, guys. Well, that's it then. The transmission is now out. Again, big thanks to BB. I appreciate all your help, buddy. Now I'm glad to have this all done. Next up, we're gonna start putting the T56 in. I should get that on order here shortly from Joel Granis. Guys, again, I want to just go over this. This is a chaser style transmission, R154. As you can see, it has a tripod on the back of it. So it is, it's not like the internal style shifter, but everything's out. The wirings now are out. Car's probably a little bit lighter. So yeah. Again, guys, thank you very much for tuning in today. Do me a big favor, go down below, check out the Facebook and Instagram. Also, I've got new merch on the website. Thank you guys very much, and I will talk to you later. Peace!